Hello everyone, welcome back to Univesco TV. So today's video I'm going to talk about the economy of Turkey and its GDP related to its automotive sector. Usually whenever there's an economic slump in any markets, be it emerging market or be it developed market, automotive sector is generally the first sector in all of the sectors which generally aids in the economic recovery of any particular country or any particular economy. So for example, Germany is a very much heavily based automotive sector based economy. At the start of the 2011 crisis, Germany's economy had a huge slump, but then it recovered quite fast because of Germany being one of the largest exporters of automotives across the globe. Now with Turkey, the demand for automotive has risen by 60%. The domestic demand has risen by 60%. However, the global slump has been 36%. Now, one of the reasons why the demand overall has risen in Turkey, I would believe so, the domestic demand is because of the fact that of coronavirus, many people are hesitant to take the public transportation, therefore they want to utilize their own private vehicles, so they want to take their own cars, which is understandable in the given the current situation, current economic climate, and which is also understandable given the current health situation across the globe and across Turkey as well. And although the situation is probably getting better in Turkey, but it's not something that is definitely under control. Now we have to understand that Turkey houses the production for Hyundai, Fiat, Mercedes, these kind of major global automotive companies. So, and those cars are not necessarily just made for the Turkish market, but they're made for the global markets as well. So cars made in Turkey from Mercedes will probably be sold in Southeast Asia, Central Asia as well. Therefore, the overall demand slump across the globe has had a negative impact on the Turkish automotive sector because there's just not many people buying those cars. Although the domestic demand has risen, but the overall global slump is preceding the domestic increase in demand. Because at the end of the day, that's how it works in economics. At the end of the day, the global demand or global supply has a huge impact on the domestic. Now Turkey is not necessarily a major automotive economy such as Germany. So if there was a slump in global demand and there was an increase in demand in Germany, it would be able to offset the overall slump, because Germany is the third largest exporter in the world, and out of which majority of their exports are cars. So whereas the government, or for Turkish government, or for generally overall governments across the globe, such as the US government, such as the Indian government, even the Chinese government, they've all provided fiscal stimulus. So quantitative easing works up to a certain extent, but then you're devaluing the local currency, or even generally sometimes the dollar if you're in the US, or if your major trading currency is the dollar. By devaluing your currency, you might increase the export competitiveness, but then there's a slump in the demand across the globe. So even though if you're devaluing the currency, your export competitiveness increases, but then who to export to? Many people are not necessarily buying those cars. Why are they not buying those cars? Because there's a lack of demand. People are not necessarily willing. Cash is very tight these days. People don't necessarily want to splurge on cars. Therefore, for them to go out and buy, such as luxury brands such as Mercedes, they have seen a huge slump in the sales in the Turkish market, because people necessarily would spend on luxuries to last, would not necessarily spend on luxuries, and they would spend on luxuries to last because it's not something of a necessity. Therefore, the quantitative easing up to a certain extent works for any major economy, but then by devaluing the currency, you're increasing the inflation. There's plentiful of money supply in the economy, therefore inflation increases because there's more money in the economy. People believe that it's free money. Generally, people don't have the financial expertise to understand that's not necessarily free money. The currency is being devalued. If the currency is being devalued, something that was worth $100 before is now worth $105. So therefore you have to spend extra $5 to purchase the same thing that you would have. So by increasing inflation, devaluing the currency is not necessarily helping, because it's increasing the inflation. There's money supply, there's free money being distributed to everybody. And overall, that's from a global point of view, from a global macroeconomic point of view, that's not something that's stable. Now, how to overcome that? I would suggest, which I always do to all my clients, to go and start investing more. Here at Univesco, we assist our clients with all the financial advice that they need in terms of managing their portfolio. Once you have your assets invested, once you have your portfolio in place, once you have your investments in place, the returns you'll generate will overcome the inflation. Therefore, they will be able to generate some sort of income for you of those portfolio, of those assets, of whatever investments, which will then assist you in being able to not just to overcome inflation, also create an additional source of income for you, which is very necessary these days in terms of the economic situation that we're in, and also the economic uncertainty that we're all in these days due to COVID-19. Although there's a trade war between USA and China, and I believe that might help overall the markets, the automotive markets across the globe, because Ford is manufactured here in China, the American car company, and because of the trade war there might be some tariffs, or there might be some embargoes, there might be some restraints on production of cars in both countries. So in terms of that might benefit some automotive companies, and people are looking into different markets. So India is one of those markets that some of my clients are looking into, not just necessarily for automotive sector, but overall they're trying to expand their base into a different country now that the Chinese and the Americans are in a state of trade war. So they want to go ahead and start looking into other prospects, other opportunities. India is one of the major ones. Vietnam, Cambodia, they will be the major manufacturing hubs, where even with the coronavirus vaccine as well, the production capacity, India has one of the highest production capacities in the world. So therefore they want to be able to go to a country which has the necessary infrastructure in place, and also the necessary manpower, but also necessary skill set as well.